This is Steve Goldsmith, and we're continuing with our profiles in mayoral leadership. Today we're talking to Mayor Brown of Buffalo, particularly about how he's used his personal leadership, crime stat models, and zero tolerance to improve the quality of life in Buffalo. Mayor, I want to begin by talking to you about how you pick. Let me start that over again. So today we want to talk about your leadership and how you select an important issue and then have that issue result in improved quality of life for your community. So I know you inherited a crime problem in Buffalo. Talk to us a little bit about how you approach that and how you involve your community in the solution.
We inherited an issue with violent crime. Citizens were very concerned about crime that was impacting our economic development efforts in the city. We also had a situation where citizens expressed frustration with the city's delivery of service. We looked at best practice models to improve the delivery of service, and we identified CityStat through Baltimore. With Baltimore, they used CityStat to improve their operation and delivery of city services. We thought that would be a good model for Buffalo, and so we worked to implement the model. We were able to get it up and operational in Buffalo with our first department in 6 months, and we got every department up and operational on the CityStat model in 13 months. One additional benefit was CompStat, which uses computers to map crime data, and we were able to use CompStat to really bring intelligent policing into our Buffalo Police Department, allocate our police resources efficiently and effectively, which has helped us to reduce violent crime in the city by an overall 13% and to reduce homicide in the city by 36%.
So, Mayor, let's talk about each one of those perhaps separately for a second. So it seems to me the first question is kind of, what's the vision and strategy you had to reduce crime? And then secondly, how did you use CompStat/CityStat to hold folks accountable for their performance? Let's start, what was the method or strategy with respect to crime?
The vision to reduce crime, particularly violent crime in the city, was a zero tolerance approach, where we expressed that we would have zero tolerance to violent crime in the city, and we would also look at the small things. We focused on illegal guns, gangs, and illegal drugs, and we used the mapping of where those incidences were occurring to establish special operations that targeted gangs, guns, and drugs, and the mapping and the accountability through CompStat was very important in holding our chiefs, who are our district commanders, accountable for getting results for reducing violent crime in the city. That also coupled with the creation of a mobile response unit, which was a highly mobile unit of the police department that could be deployed to different areas as the crime mapping dictated. And through that, we were able to see tremendous results in being able to deter criminal behavior and apprehend people who were engaged in criminal behavior.
The zero tolerance approach would have you working with your community and also then working with the police department. Some communities demand zero tolerance, some are anxious about zero tolerance. How did you personally kind of lead that strategy in a way that developed community support?
Well, it was very important to have meetings throughout the community. We set up meetings with neighborhood associations, with block clubs, with business associations to discuss their concerns about crime. And it was clear through these neighborhood meetings that there was tremendous concern, tremendous frustration with crime that was occurring in the city of Buffalo, and that people wanted action, and We proposed a variety of different strategies that we wanted to employ, and we found that the community was extremely supportive of many of those strategies, one of them being the zero tolerance approach that we wanted to take. The community essentially told us, we know it's going to be a tough approach. We know that you're going to have to aggressively go after people who are committing serious crime in our community, and we want you to do that because we want to see the crime reduced. We want to have a safe community, and through the effort to meet extensively with residents of our community, we were able to build the support that we needed to implement our zero tolerance approach to crime, which has enabled us to reduce violent crime overall in the city of Buffalo.
So you have a zero tolerance plan, and you have a city stat, ComStat tracking system. How did you cause results? In other words, how did you translate the performance data into real performance? How did you get people to change, particularly police officers, to change their approach to crime?
Well, we believe we have an excellent police department, one of the best trained, one of the most productive police departments in the nation. And so it wasn't hard once we convinced them that data-driven policing was an effective way to fight crime. It was a way that they could be more successful. It was a way that our police officers could be armed with more information, where they could be safer going out on calls, and it was a way that we could address complaints and concerns of citizens who are experiencing crime in their communities. We didn't initially implement ComStat or CityStat with the police department. We started with other departments first. We started with our Division of Citizen Services, which is the department that tracks complaints and citizen requests for service throughout the entire government. And that provided a good model for us where every other department head was able to see how the program operated. We were able to achieve some early successes in being able to deliver services better, in being able to reduce the cost of the services that we delivered, and some of the initial trepidation or concern that some of our departments had, including the police department, were broken down through the early success that we had with the Division of Citizen Services. And when it became time to move the CityStat process, the ComStat process, into operation in our police department, there was very widespread support in the management of our department and very widespread support in the rank and file police officers. And now the police officers feel very pleased, from everything I can see, that they have gone to this approach because they are certainly now being recognized as one of the most effective police forces in the entire state of New York, and we are experiencing significant reduction in crime, which I think they feel very good about as professional law enforcers who are working every day to do a job of reducing crime in the city.
So just one last question. We encourage local state officials to copy innovative government programs. So if you were to kind of break down the components here that would build up to successful replication of your model, just summarize for us what somebody trying to copy your success would do.
I would say there needs to be an identification of major areas of concern in the community. We identified a frustration with the delivery of city services and a real concern about crime and violent crime in the community. From there, we established ideas for different approaches that we wanted to take, but we wanted to go out to the community. and communicate with the community, get ideas and input from the community, and we found that some of the approaches that we wanted to take would be supported and accepted by the community. And we were also able to get some specific information on where the areas of frustration were the greatest in the community, and we decided that some of the best practice models that we had identified, like zero tolerance on crime, CityStat, CompStat, were models that would work very effectively in the city of Buffalo, were models that would be embraced and supported by the residents of our community. And then it was the task to try to implement these models as quickly as possible, to try to implement them as cost efficiently for the taxpayer as possible, and then to communicate to the community how these best practice government management models were working to achieve the results that everybody wanted to see in the city of Buffalo.
Good. Thank you very much, Mayor.